books, you guys have come up with a beautiful design. Your design can have radial symmetry going from the center out, or like mine, radial symmetry going from the corner outward. Okay? Now, what you're going to do, after you have it drawn on this paper, you're going to have the paper taped onto the styrofoam plate. You're going to take your pen, you're going to trace over your lines one time. If your line is not following, the pen line is not following the pencil line, don't go back and fix it. Keep going. Because what will happen if I go back and fix it?
I'll get ruined.
I'll get two lines. And I don't want the two lines. It's not that it's ruined, it's just that I don't want that second line. Okay, so keep going. Don't worry. When you're done and you've traced over all your pencil lines, Mrs. Jacobsen wants you to trace over it again with your pen. So you're going to go back and you're going to follow those lines, those indentations, and make them just a little bit deeper with your pen, as carefully as can be. Are you making new lines? No, you're just going to carefully follow those indentations that you made earlier. Rusky, go. Okay. So I'm going to pretend, actually I'm going to continue finishing this stuff just very quickly. I love that your bodies are still and that you're being so patient. So Mrs. Jacobsen is carefully following those lines. And I'm not making extra holes in my styrofoam. I'm pressing hard enough, but not so hard that I'm breaking through. I love that your hands are behind your back and that you're not touching the tools on the table. I love that you're listening so carefully. Whoops, bless you. Now, if it happens that your pen goes outside of your indentation mark, don't worry. But try as carefully as you can to follow in those grooves. And as you follow those grooves, all you're doing is making that indentation deeper so that the paint won't go inside. So we want that part to show our beautiful picture underneath. Okay, so I'm done. I have my design. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my printing table. On my table over here, I'm going to have this paper. For the sake of today's demonstration, I'm going to have it over here. But when you're printing, where do I want you to print? When you're putting paint on your palette, where do I want you to put your paint on the palette?
Here.
The demonstration table, okay? So this beautiful design is going to go at your table. So here's what Mrs. Jacobsen is going to do. I'm going to take my printer's ink. I'm using white. Oh, it's new too.
Cool. Wow. It will be better if it's new, right?
Hopefully.
It will be better if it's not new. That will.
So I'm going to take...
First one's to use.
We have to check our voice. Oh.
Oh my god. It's okay. It's okay. Please do them. Look at this paper.
Yeah.
You're using paper.
Yeah. This thing. Okay. When we're not using our brayer, can we say brayer?
Brayer.
This is a brayer. This is where we roll from. This top part is always going to be facing up. If we put it down here, it's just going to get in our paint and make a big mess, and it makes it hard to roll. It's actually quite impossible. So this part always faces up, okay? When I'm not using it, the handle needs to be facing in the center. Why?
Because that's never.
Why don't I want this to be facing down here like that? I like that Olivia put her hand up. Yes?
Then the handle will get dirty for the other person because it's in their hand.
Hey, we're going to show respect to our friends who are going to use this after us, and we're going to make sure that when we're not using it, it's resting like that. So to put paint on my brayer, I'm just going to take a dab dab like that. And now I'm going to roll it. I don't have to roll all the paint in there or the ink in there. And I'm going to go in one direction and the other direction. Now when you guys are ready to ink, what do you need to put on your body? An apron. This is washable ink, but let's not test it too much. We want to make sure that we keep our clothes nice and clean. So I am ready. I'm going to take my plate. I'm going to take my brayer. If I look, I have spots on it that look almost like the texture of an orange.
Like this?
Okay, and it's totally covered. So I'm going to roll my brayer over top. And I'm going to probably turn it the other way too, because I want to make sure that I cover the whole surface with my ink. Now I'm ready to paint, and I can look and see, and I've got every part covered. Just by the way I tilt it in the light, I can see that every part is covered. Now I'm going to take it over to my table, pretending that I'm at my table. I'm going to start at one corner. I know Resky's listening because he's got his body still and his eyes on Mrs. J. I'm going to start over at one corner, not in the middle, not up over here. I'm going to line it up with my corner.
Yeah?
And I'm going to make sure that my hands are clean because I don't want to I shouldn't have so much ink on my hands. Do I have a lot of ink on my hands?
No.
No. Now this part is a little bit tricky because if I don't hold my plate and I rub it, what's going to happen to my plate?
Smush.
It's going to smush off and I'm going to smear my beautiful design and it won't look like anything.
Yeah.
So I've got one hand not being lazy. One hand is not being lazy, it's going to hold it, and the other hand is just going to press and rub a little bit. Then when I want this corner, this hand is going to hold it, and I am going to carefully rub it a little bit. Okay? I don't want my plate to shift too much. That's why I'm always holding while the other hand is rubbing. I'm holding as carefully as possible. Now, I'm going to lift it off to see if I have made a transfer. Just a tiny little lift will tell me if I need to press a bit more. And I do. So I can always put my weight on it like this and just press on it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Close your eyes. Close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes. Woohoo!
What? Wow. Let me see. Wow. Let me see. Wow. So cool. But when it's closer to you, because it's in the light, it's
So then what you're going to do is you're going to come back over here and you're going to ink up again.
And keep doing it
And you keep doing it
until you finish.
until you finish. Okay? So I'm changing the direction.
I see some spots.
You think? And I put it on. I'm going to line it up for my second print. I'm going to line it up as carefully as I can. My hands are shaking, but I want to line it up with my edge so it's flat. Line it up here so that it's flat. I'm not going to put my hand in the wet ink, but I'm going to very carefully. Oh, see what happened? Mrs. Jacobsen went to, bless you, went to rub it, and I shifted a little bit, so hopefully that didn't affect the print underneath. One hand always holds while the other hand rubs. Then I switch. One hand holds while the other hand rubs. No lazy hands. Everybody's working.
I know what you mean.
No lazy hands. You tell those hands to work. Okay. And then I peel one corner just to check. Oh, I need to press just a bit more over up here. Press my corners down. Okay? So if rubbing's not working for you, press really hard. Okay, and I peel up.
Great, great, great. Oh my
Wow! You guys are going to have the coolest lanterns ever. I'm so excited for you. All right, do you know what you need to do today?
Yes.
Job number 1, get your designs finished. So if you haven't started yet, you should be at this stage, sorry. You should be at this stage and headed toward this stage. If you're at this stage, you should be working toward putting your pen marks on it and tracing over them. And if you've done all of that, then today's the day that we get to print. A-okay?
Okay.
All right. You guys can head back to your tables and get started.